If you're not using effects with your acoustic guitar performance, you should be. Today we're going to talk about how to use delay with acoustic guitar. Stay tuned. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and like our videos. If you'd like to support the channel, visit our Spring Store link below for our custom designed t-shirts. So today we are talking about effects, but specifically utilizing effects with an acoustic guitar. Now, by and large, most people who purchase and utilize effects do so for electric guitar. But if you're not using effects on acoustic guitar, you're missing out. There's a world of creativity available at your fingertips or your toe tips, as it may be. If you utilize it with an acoustic guitar, now that's whether you're playing by yourself in a coffee shop setting, at church, with the band, even at home, using effects opens up all this creativity. It changes the textures that you're able to get with your acoustic guitar. It will lead you down a path of a lot more enjoyable playing by yourself, and can really expand the sound that you're getting if you're playing with a band or even by your lonesome in a coffee shop setting, maybe as a solo act or with a singer, what have you. Effects really just broadens the tonal spectrum that you're able to produce with your guitar. Today, specifically, we will be talking about delay pedals. How to use delay pedals with your acoustic guitar. Now, I actually should qualify that by saying you can actually do that with a lot of amps. The amp behind me, which is the new Fender Acoustic Junior, has built-in effects. There's reverb, there's delay, there's chorus, there's all sorts of things on there. Now, the delay that it has, you get basically the choice of delay or delay with reverb, and that's about it. If you want to expand beyond that, you need to look at individual pedals or kind of floor processing pedals that give you a host of things. Today we're going to focus only on delay, and to do that, rather than using what's built into the amp so that I can give you a variety of styles, I'm going to be using a Strymon El Capistan tape delay. This is actually one of my favorite pedals that Strymon makes because I love the sound of a saturated tape delay. It's got awesome options from fixed head to multiple and floating head tape delay or tape machines that you can replicate with this, and it has a tap tempo. And I'm just going to go on record of saying right now, you can go out and you can purchase a variety of great delay pedals and have a lot of fun. I find that particularly if you're playing rhythmically, which you are most of the time with an acoustic guitar, finding something that has a tap tempo built into it or that you can install out on the side is really going to be helpful for you. And as I go through some of these demos, I'm going to point out why that might be the case. So let's talk about first, before I kind of go through this and show you some different sounds, when you might use this or how it's helpful. Recently, I actually got to experience this myself because I typically play with a group and a bunch of them are out of town on summer vacation, and it was just left to me to really carry an entire church service, right? It's just me by myself on this particular Sunday. And so to flesh out the sound and really create something that's larger than just a guy with an acoustic guitar, I utilized reverb and I utilized delay. And delay can really, again, create these textures, but also make the sound a lot bigger than just the acoustic guitar on its own. Now, it does this effectively by doing what a delay does, or even an echo. Delay, echo tends to go hand in hand, and that is to repeat the sound that you just played. That's it in a nutshell. Just from the elementary aspect of it, you're repeating the sound that you're playing. Now, how you go about choosing what you wanted to repeat and how you wanted to repeat is where all of the fun is. Along with, and this is really important for electric but also acoustic guitar, how you're playing the guitar itself. Sometimes you want to play a rich chord that's open and let the delay do some fun stuff in the background. Other times you are going to want to palm mute and take advantage of what the delay is doing to create all sorts of cool repeats and rhythmic patterns that would be difficult or impossible for you to do on your own. So I'm going to be using the El Capistan, but I will at the onset here tell you I don't own an El Capistan, I own a Timeline from Strymon, and there's some functionality in that and some other delay pedals that can be really cool with an acoustic guitar. I can't demonstrate that on this video, but one of those things I'm going to throw out that's pretty big in a lot of modern music, is like a shimmer feature. And that's where you have a delay, and you can find this on a lot of reverbs as well. You have a delay that's doing the repeat, but there's also something in the background. There is an octave or a fifth that's just kind of there. It's almost a synth or pad sound that's going on with the tone of your guitar. And that can undergird and kind of create a foundation of some very cool atmospheric sounds. And so if you're looking for a delay or a combination delay reverb pedal, or just a reverb pedal, look for something like that if you're wanting to kind of create something that's just kind of there droning on in the background, that's not necessarily up front as part of your sound, but kind of in the back. And I'll say that too, as far as, you know, how you want to set up your delay. You can set this up in your mix to be very in your face. It's very present in your sound from the initial attack on. But you can also set this to be ducked, which means to kind of sit under your primary amplified tone of the acoustic guitar. And if you do that, then it really is just kind of sitting in the back, adding atmosphere, adding texture to your overall sound. And like I said, it's just a really easy way to make an acoustic guitar sound really, really big. You typically would do that with your mix on the pedal. We have that on this El Capistan, so I'll be making use of that to show you an example of both. Now, the other thing that you need, in addition to an amp and your pedal of choice, is you're going to need an acoustic electric guitar. Now, I'm using a Taylor 912 CE with Taylor's ES2 pickup system in it, but you can effectively use any acoustic electric guitar as long as it has a built-in pickup. Can you do this with a microphone? You can, but here's the problem. You have to remember that a delay is going to repeat the input. And with a microphone, you're going to get a bunch of different inputs. And so you're going to be repeating everything on there. Now, that can be the case for an acoustic guitar to great effect. So if I turn this up, I'm going to show you what I mean. That's just the sound of me hitting the top of the guitar. You can create a percussive aspect to that. If I turn on the delay, and I have this right now on a fixed head, recording head for the tape delay, basically this is like a slapback sound, and this is what the repeats sound like. If we hit the body, it sounds like this. Now you hear the initial repeat of the delay, and then it will trail off, and you can adjust that on most delay pedals. If you get something like a timeline, there's a bunch of presets. Don't be afraid to dive in and experiment with the parameters of those presets, because that's really where the magic lies. Even with this, if you look at the manual for the El Capistan, Strymon's created some basic parameters that you can set the knobs to replicate certain sounds, but finding your own voice, just like in the guitar, in the pedal, is an important process. So again, this is what the repeat sounds like. If I want to have more repeats, I can increase that. Now the repeat still trails off, but you get a lot more of those repeats going on, and they're more present before it begins to trail off. So again, this is what the repeats sound like. And this could be a very cool effect to use if you're using very long, sustained, open chords. And I'll show you before I change anything else on the parameters, with just the long repeats versus the short repeats. So here's the long repeats. And you can probably hear some variation there. Now there's wow and flutter that's on this because this is a tape delay. So it's trying to replicate the sound of tape going through a machine. And there's going to be some crinkle and all sorts of other stuff that can create some very cool artifacts to what you're playing. So if you use some long chords and you increase that, you get more of this tremolo effect and some dirt. Let me show you what I mean. I've turned up the wow and flutter. We have all those long repeats, and I'm just going to strum some open chords, and you can hear what it does. Now that's pretty neat. What it actually sounds like is that you've got a chorus effect that's going along there. a lot of, there's almost like a tremolo effect where there's this undulating volume. It's very cool, and it creates a lot more texture to those chords. If I play that same thing without the delay, listen. With the delay, now if I don't change any of the settings, or if I don't change the type of delay, but I change the wound flutter, if I tighten that up and the repeats, we get a very different effect. So now I've shortened those repeats to this. Oh, volume's important. And what that gives us is a very classic kind of slap back sound. And if you're playing rhythmically, this can really add a lot of additional depth. That's a word I keep using. Let me show you what I mean. Without the delay, it's a very good rhythmic sound. I'm using palm muting, a flat pick, it's an E chord, and just kind of driving, getting this driving sound. Now if I add the delay, let's hear what we get. You hear the slap back that's coming? It's like the back beat that you normally get from drums. If you're by yourself, you can create this rhythmic percussive thing on your own and do something like this. Pretty cool, right? Let's talk about a few other things that you can utilize with palm muting. So I'm going to change this up a little bit to go to a multi-head. Listen to how it changes. Without the delay. With the delay. Now, if I shorten that up, I'm going to basically play the same thing, but instead of letting those notes ring, I'm going to palm mute. And what that does is it allows those repeats to come out instead of being kind of covered by the sustained initial note. So you get something like this. Now if I change the setting again to something like a single head, now the repeats are different. So if I wanted to change up, I can use either the time knob, or I can use the tap tempo, or I can just leave it as is and see what it does. So as it is, I'm going to increase the wound flutter. I've got the tape age up on this. And again, these are some settings specific to this being a tape echo. It gives you some cool sounds. And you can do something like this. If I want that really loud in the mix, we can bring the mix up. And you're hearing a lot of this weird stuff going on because of the tape age, because of the wound flutter. If I want that there, but I want it more in the background, I can just turn down the mix, and then I'm going to have more of my acoustic guitar and less of those artifacts. You can barely hear them, right? So if you split it in the middle, you basically get something kind of in the middle. So anyways, that's basically a taste of what you can do with a delay. Here are the things to focus on if you're utilizing a delay with an acoustic guitar. Make sure that you dial in the sounds of that delay to basically complement the style that you're playing. So if you're playing something rhythmic and you want kind of that slap back echo style, you can dial that in, and you want short repeats that complement the rhythm that you're playing to go along with that, to accentuate it. You don't want it to pull away from that. In other words, if you're playing something rhythmically, we'll use that same delay as an example, right? This is a long delay with a lot of artifacts. If I start trying to do the same thing, it's actually fighting what I want to do. It's fighting the rhythm that I'm establishing. If you put that real low, that could be cool, but generally speaking, you want something that goes along and kind of drives that with you. So utilize things like a flat pick, palm muting, and a slap back echo style delay with short repeats. If you're playing open chords or you're playing long finger style pieces and you want to increase your sustain and that texture, dial in longer delays. Don't shy away or be afraid of experimenting with some of the other parameters of the delay pedals that you find, like adding some distortion, some crinkle, some chorusy sounding effects. Because if you're playing something that's got these long sustained chords, it can really add a lot of texture to the sound. The bottom line of it all is to utilize a delay in any way that you want with your acoustic guitar. At the end of the day, there are no rules. This is music. You can make it up as you go. But what I want you to do is, if you're not currently using a delay, to buy one, make it part of your signal chain, make it part of the mix, start playing around with it and see what you're able to accomplish, because it's a lot of fun. We'll be covering some other effects with acoustic guitars in the future. So if you'd like to see some specific effects pedals or types of effects, make sure that you comment in the comment section below and tell us what you would like to hear or like some help on in utilizing with your acoustic guitar setup. If you're new to our channel, this is what we're about. We're wanting to help you make the most out of guitar playing. At the end of the day, the very best guitar in the world is the one that you're playing. And if you're playing it through a delay pedal, it's all that much more fun. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and like our video. You can also become a Patreon member, Alamo Music Insider, by following the link in the description. We're doing a lot of cool behind-the-scenes stuff over there as well, so be sure to check that out. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next time.